Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Innovation Conversation. Today we are joined by Ross Kolodyazhnyi. Ross, welcome.
Uh, Thanks, Ricardo. Hi, it's really cool to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
It's a pleasure having you here. Ross, would you like to tell the audience a little bit more about your very exciting life journey and professional experience?
Yeah, so as I said, really glad to be here and a few details, few bits about me. Of course, I have a really long and sometime um, tremendous story about myself, but in a nutshell, what I do, I see myself as entrepreneur, founder, startup creator of the companies that grow from the very beginning, from the very zero to
hmm
the enormous highs. And that's what I do normally. Creating the companies, creating the products, grow them on the new markets, and specifically dedicated on the FinTech and to the blockchain, cryptocurrency market. And right now, of course, playing a lot and to doing a lot of things in AI. Right now, I'm the Chief Technical and Product Officer at Calyptus. We create the hiring and financial platform for the Web3 industry. And my whole experience is through the FinTech, starting from banks to startups and few really remarkable companies I've built from the uh, not far along. One of them is Wirex, which reached more than 7 million customers, and DCM, where I've created the really innovative real-time payments and tokenization platform that unites traditional finance and blockchain for banking. And that's what I do.
Wow, I have so many questions right now. It's absolutely crazy because you literally touch, I think, upon some of the major things that everyone's talking in tech right now, which is Web3, blockchain, AI, and then most importantly, you just don't know about them. You also have actually implement them in the real world and actually have working companies with all of this. So you can actually explain to the audience how complicated it is to go and talk about all these things.
Yeah, and
I guess.
that's actually what I see my unique advantage
Mhm.
on the everywhere on the market. And so when I start speaking with the companies, when I start speaking with investors and so on, and I tell them what I do, they like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what is on the frontier of the everything that's happening in the market. And say
Mhm.
yes, and I'm specifically dedicating myself to that, to the most unknown and most innovative things, and trying to implement them in the real world. Just because I see technology as a tool that helps us to make things better, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to make the life better, the world better, and bring some new stuff that definitely would help people using the new technology, not just attaching that for labels that, hey, we use AI, but there is no smell of any AI on that, but specifically bringing value through this new technology. And that's really cool stuff, and have a plenty of stories of ups and downs on that, and of launching the companies and launching products in these areas.
I'm curious on one thing because all these technologies are fairly new. How do you go about explaining to a more traditional client? Because I'm assuming you've done a lot in fintech as well. How do you go about explaining something new to a fintech client, which is traditionally very, I guess, old school, if you want to call it that way?
Yeah, that's a really cool question, and I can go back to my experience at Wirex, where I first started to work with blockchain and cryptocurrency. Back in 2017, I've been full of banks and bored by banking, and freshly made one of startups in fintech around investing, and meet some guys from Wirex, and they introduced this technology, which I read about, but I never thought that I would be working with. And I've checked some information about Bitcoin, about its kind of ups and downs. From in the time when we spoke with these guys, the rate of the Bitcoin was about It had like a two grants of price, and then after I joined at the beginning of 2017, it kind of fell down to the $300 per one Bitcoin, and I was kind of, oh my gosh, what I'm doing here? Why I'm in the company that had this kind of happen, that dedicated its business to the asset that has such enormous volatility. Through the building things in blockchain and Web3, I understood that this volatility is a power to try out new ideas and to try out new things and concepts really quickly, validating them on the market, which you can't do that anymore in fintech, and you entirely cannot do that on banking. Imagine like to build a new bank. It will cost you and will take a lot of years, to be honest. But getting back to your question, dilemma of explaining how to use new technology to people, that's actually what I met at the very beginning of Wirex, where there was a wave of DGens, as we name them, people that are early adopters of new technology. And this wave went to the wind down, and so we needed to attract more people novices in the technology, and so tried to explain them at first, hey, this is a blockchain, you need to use this address, you need to kind of use wallet, and kind of going straightforwardly with explanations, the all nuances of the technology, but that obviously that didn't work, and that won't work in any technology, even right now on AI, and so and we had an issues back in the days with such a straightforward explanation. And what the OpenAI did with releasing ChatGPT, and that's what Sam Altman said. The technology was in place for the ChatGPT. So and what they did, they just connected all bits and packed that into the normal conversational interface that people are used to work with, and they used to try through the messengers, try through the chatbots, and through the different applications, specifically Messenger. So the whole concept of ChatGPT was, let's take WhatsApp Messenger and apply it to the new technology. Let's take the familiar interface, familiar user experience, and familiar UI for users, and apply it to the new technology. And that's the recipe for everything. That's the recipe for explanation of the new technology, and not even the explanation. That's the recipe for introducing of the new technology to people, because you shouldn't explain what is AI. Hey, AI, it's a sophisticated statistic model that uses different weights to produce the statistically correct answers and blah, 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 so on and so forth. No one would buy that. AI helps you to do XYZ on the go. AI answers on your all lifetime questions. Blockchain would help you to save your money, or would help you to earn more money, or would help you to write data into immutable. It's too tacky, but store data that and no one can change. No one can change it, and that's the explanation. That's the interface that you should look while adopting a new technology. And what I did at Wirex, I've changed the interface, I've changed the all application side and so on, and introduced the familiar experience of dealing with neobank to Wirex. And so that was the solution. People used to work with Wirex as they worked with neobank, and so they seen all the power of cryptocurrencies packed inside their familiar interfaces, inside the familiar UI, and they kind of, all right, I can send payments, I can send cross-border international payments in stable coins or whatever. What is that? Like it says USDT, but it's kind of familiar to USD, and it's kind of like USD. But I can send these payments to anyone in the world for the fees at less than $1, instead of sending SWIFT or instead of sending SEPA. transfer, which are far more expensive than sending any cryptocurrency to anyone else.
Hmm.
And that's what Wires introduced, the familiar user-friendly interface back in the 2018, and that's what OpenAI did with AI, and that's what recipe I have for any digital products that I'm using. I'm trying to wipe out all this kind of techy thing, put the technology on the last place of the overall product proposition, and put the value on top, and tell people that what you can do with the product. You can do X, Y, Z, and it will benefit you for ABC. And if there will be a tacky guy like myself, or maybe like you, who will ask a question, "Hey Ross, how are you doing that?" And I will say, "Okay, I'm using AI, Web3, quantum mechanic, and to make this happen." And that's the recipe to go with the best product that will be adapted on the market, even though you will have the most complicated and raw technology that you'll use.
Yeah, I interview a lot of people here on the podcast, and I'm always curious. People keep on, how should I put this? They keep on saying Web 2 is completely dead instead of Web 3. I also think that in some regards it is, but not entirely. Now, do you think that Web 3 is completely the way forward, or there's still room to build things in Web 2? And this is a tricky question because I know how much you know about all this ecosystem. So I'm curious to hear your
Yeah,
insight.
and that's super uh, good question, because my experience, and that specifically goes from the more than 8 products that I've built in finance and blockchain and cryptocurrency. And the my last company that I run as a CEO, and my current company that I'm running as CTPO, Calyptus. Last company that I ran as a CEO was DCM. Current company is Calyptus. They both were they both are and they both were on the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. DCM was specifically on Web 2 and Web 3, and so let's say traditional finance and blockchain finance, cryptocurrency related finance bridge. Calyptus is on the Web 2 and Web 3, specifically hiring and traditional finance and decentralized finance and Web 3 finance and Web 3 industry hiring and finding the best job and the best company and the best team for your company.
Mhm.
And by saying that, I just want to show it as an example that it probably was cool to say that Web3 will conquer banks, blockchain will eliminate all financial system. It was cool in 2016, 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
when we had an avalanche of ICOs that sucked money from from any point, from any industry, and so on. And why I'm saying that it was cool, because today building any product which is related to the specifically finance, you cannot avoid touching the Web3 component.
Mhm.
Today, building any product which is related to the AI, and you can't avoid, today to build any product, digital product, you can't avoid to touching AI. And going back to the finance part, Web3 and Web2, there is no more strict border between these two technologies, specifically in FinTech. We can talk about art and and NFTs and so on, because that's a
Mhm.
part of Web3 as well. But my expertise is specifically in FinTech, and you cannot build FinTech product anymore, which wouldn't be completely separated from the Web3 industry. And even though, because if you build in the traditional neobank with the card, with like a traditional fiat account, I don't know who would do that today, but anyway, if you're building this product right now, you will have an avalanche of people that will be bombarding your support with begging to add cryptocurrency in that. product, because they want to use cryptocurrency as a storage of their assets. They want to use cryptocurrency as a payment, specifically stable coins, and they want to use meme coins to gamble around and to to, to have fun, not because losing money, and just to have fun and to be conscious about what you're doing and to have like a more fun tools to do stuff. And by building, for example, building the DCM company, where I build the real-time payment system and real and tokenization platform, which specifically breached the traditional bank accounts and blockchain. I understood that I've got this understanding before, but by applying my expertise to this specific company and by speaking with different partners, blockchain foundations, and so on, they see and they work on the even far integration of real world assets and traditional finance into their blockchain and into the traditional finance than we tend to think about that. You can see that on the things, on the events that happen around us. BlackRock tokenized its funds,
Hmm.
tokenized its assets, and work with tokenized assets around around different funds in their organization. JP Morgan ran all the entire internal payments using blockchain. Different banks started to work with stablecoins as a payment methods. MiCA in Europe, that's a new regulation or in Europe that literally allows anyone to issue
Hmm.
stablecoins or to issue tokenized assets, will bring even more adoption to these Web3 penetration of the traditional finance. But moreover, traditional finance will penetrate Web3 as well. And in order to think about that in the form of what's gonna be next, what we'll have in the future, building the DCM, I came to the conclusion that traditional finance banks will be the low layer infrastructure on top of these things, on top of the innovations that are upcoming to us, because banks already, and that starts from the FinTech. Do you remember the wave of neobanks, when from the any corner you've got five new neobanks happening, five
Yes.
new neobanks launching new shiny cards with new shiny things and so on and so forth.
Different colors, and they're all bright orange
Yeah, yeah.
or
Look,
bright
look,
green
we
or
have
something
new
like that, right?
application. What's the difference? What's the difference from that one neobank application? No difference. We have a new color of our application. The buttons are on the buttons. We have like a square buttons instead of round buttons, and that's much more easier. Just give us like another 100 million of investments, and we'll kind of run this application. But
And
anyway,
but there's a couple of people that even launched banks, and they said, I didn't know anything about banking. I just went to investors and said, I want to launch a bank, and they say, here's my
yeah,
money, go and open a bank. So there's a couple of stories like that as well.
yeah. But how everything works on that side, and how it kind of works. Bank, it's just an application that has a bank on the background. And wow, that could be a super surprising thing for someone, but yeah, that's right. Neobank, it's not a bank, it's just an application that runs on top of the regular bank. And soon we will see blockchains and we will see more integration with Web3 that will run on top of regular bank. And what's even more surprising is that building DCM and engaging and kind of onboarding more than 14 banks onto the DCM payment platform, onto the DCM platform that provides real time payments. I was literally uh, frustrating, uh, considering my experience in 2017, 2016, 2018, when I approached banks with cryptocurrency pitch and with pitch about blockchain, and banks just kind of wanna shoot me in my head with all this stuff, and literally they shut their door in front of my face and didn't want to hear that. And right now, if you start speaking about the cryptocurrency, and if we start speaking about the stable coins and blockchain integration with banks like and any bank like okay, we have this product and we have these things for blockchain and this product dedicated for blockchain, and we are extremely open for the new things that will give us an opportunity to make more money. And I'm like, wow, guys, we have a solution here. So let's let's be friends. Let's got it together. And it's really interesting to see how people evolving in their understanding of new technology and how they evolving with adoption of it. Of course, there was a regulation. Of course, there are more. There are more like real world cases where they can see, hey, these guys are already making money on that. Why don't we do that as well? Why we do not have these fees in our bank and start processing cryptocurrency payments and or start like make things more efficient in our industry? And that's their way how they think right now. It's kind of one more time just confirms this curve of adoption of technology. When something is new and you just must have real world cases that someone tries that, and then anyone else will like that and want that and so on and so forth. And with AI specifically, these use cases just started to pop up here and there with tremendous speed. Back in the 10 years ago, 5 years ago, launching a new technology, you will get new use cases in a year or in 2 years. AI, ChatGPT, OpenAI was launched, and the new use cases with using that started to pop up immediately. And literally in 2 years after that, in 1 year after that, we have the whole industries, all industries penetrated with AI. SaaS right now has AI component in that, whether it's kind of just for investors in the pitch deck or whether it's kind of has some value.
I find a lot like that where they just put AI because they need to put in AI because it looks cool, and investors only invest in AI. Oh yes, we have AI. We do something with ChatGPT. We ask for text correction or something like that. Very basic. What do you think about the regulations for all these things? Because I think that was one of the main blocks for people to adopt all the crypto and blockchain and all that. Do you think there's enough regulation as it is? And is it safe to use all these things? Or you still need to be more regulation? And I know that one of the big advantages is actually not having to comply with, something that the central bank would say. So what do you think about this?
I hate regulation. I like to play with things freely. Of course, I do understand the objective of that, because different people tend to do different stuff with new things that pop up here and there. But I probably not hate the regulations itself, but the way how people apply that, and how some people apply that, and specifically the people that have power, how they apply their regulation on the new industries. And I'm specifically sad about the ways when on 2018, 2019, the regulators, without any understanding how the blockchain and how Web3 works, started to ban blockchain and started to ban cryptocurrency. And that was so obvious that they just banned that because it was so popular back in the days, and it was so everyone gambled through the cryptocurrency. Everyone were involved in that. We heard from any person about cryptocurrency, and they just started to ban it without any understanding how it works. And it's a question why we had the first. It was like the first big crypto winter because of the overheated cryptocurrency market, or because the regulators just cut everything and artificially created this crypto winter. I don't know why. Theory maybe that they wanted to pack their like pockets with shorting the cryptocurrency or whatever. But the truth is that regulators often, and even more often than needed, tend to just ban things, just to forbid and cancel everything without understanding how it works, and that's really sad. I would ask to do your math, do your own research before canceling everything. How I see regulation and how I see these activities, maybe probably sometime in my future, I will work at some national financial conduct of authority, whatever, like a national bank
Hmm.
and so on. And these organizations, in my opinion, should be spectators on top of everything that happens in the market,
Hmm.
and work with other departments, the states authorities, to pick up some kind of fraud people, to pick up some fraud companies, fraud related companies that tend to cheat on people, try to get their head into the what's happening specifically, and think together with the industry how to develop the rails so it can go more smoothly, and how to develop the rails that will open the doors for new products, for new mechanics more easily. For example, the tokenization of assets. Everyone's talking about that right now. But
Hmm.
the problem is that national banks and national financial authorities, they are afraid of opening these box because they're afraid that, hey, it will have an influence on the traditional financial markets. Hey guys, wake up! It already has an influence on traditional finance market. Your pockets are half in the cryptocurrency. Your pockets are half in the tokenized assets
Hmm.
already. What are you talking about? You just dumb assholes that just do not want to do math and do not want kind of to research that and
Hmm.
go forward with that. Anyway, do your own research and help people to make things happen. I've dedicated a lot of energy to that. For example, in Ukraine, I've been in charge of banking commission, and I've been before the war in Ukraine. I've been in charge of banking commission on the International Chamber of Commerce, and I've been one of the person in charge helping to create the regulation for blockchain for Ukrainian jurisdictions, and literally fighting with regulators and putting the facts in front of their faces that, hey guys, that's already happening in front of you. Ukraine is the second country in the blockchain adoption and in the cryptocurrency adoption, according to the analytics mm, on the according to the 2022 analytics reports or 2023.
Hmm.
But anyway, before the war, Ukraine was on the headliners of the cryptocurrency adoption, and right now even more because of partial collapse of the cross-border financial relations between Ukraine and the all other world. Cryptocurrency is already circulating more actively, but everyone just tend to close their eyes on that because they don't do not know what to do with it, literally.
I got a question for you because I guess for someone more traditional, when they look at all these different cryptos, different coins, they always get a bit confused and say, okay, which one do I actually believe in? Which one is a scam, right? So how is there a way for the common man to actually go and say, you know what, Bitcoin is okay, but Dogecoin is not? And how do we go and educate the market? Because I think, when you look at traditional banks and the way they're doing crypto, not even traditional bank, but let's say, for example, Revolut. Let's take Revolut as an example. You can actually buy a lot of crypto. People always saying, how do I buy Dogecoin? Because Dogecoin is the one that shows up on the news, is climbing. I want to gamble a bit there. So how do you go and actually educate people and say, you know what, one is a stable coin, the other one's not. The other one's, just playing around with your money, and that's okay. But at the same time, if you want to make sure that it's safe and doesn't go up and down too much, go and invest something more stable. How do you go about telling people about this?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and unfortunately, there is no silver bullet here. Hey, to say all right, you should do this ABC activities and everything will be all right. And even not because these ABC activities are not right, but because we live in a world that has tremendous up and downs, even in traditional finance. So right now, it's a it's a time of significant changes in all industries and all ways to assess the world, assess the shares, assess companies, assess blockchain, cryptocurrencies. They could give you some guess or could give you some understanding or could create in your mind the false confidence about what you've got. But hey, tomorrow you're gonna have a black swan hit your ass and everything will go down. And the probability of the black swans right
Hmm.
nowadays is super high because we live in such volatile world, not because of cryptocurrency, because of interconnectivity of the world and because
Yeah.
of the volatility itself. And what the main take that I have to read the book about black swans, which I forgot the author of this book, but it literally called like a black swans. You can maybe elaborate on that more. And to understand the concept of being prepared or being you know, at least conscious about the things, unpredictable things that could happen literally tomorrow. Build everything that you've got and build everything that you analyze and assess, whether it's cryptocurrency or any other investment, if you want to gamble, because shares and
It's also a
all
gamble.
the,
Yeah.
that's a gambling as well. If you do not sit in a board of directors of the company and you do not have um, some
Well, look at
insightful.
Tesla. Look at Tesla, because Tesla was actually a fascinating thing, because it was growing. The market value for Tesla was higher than Volkswagen. However, the
Yeah,
Volkswagen Group actually has
yeah,
more assets than Tesla ever is going to have. But people say, we actually believe in Tesla so much, we keep on gambling on it, and they kept on rising and rising. But in reality, when you break down, if they had to sell everything, they actually didn't have that much to sell. So it's a big
yeah.
gamble there.
And what you just said, it's a brilliant example of what you should kind of paying attention on and build your way of thinking uh, from the back door rather from the front assisting of the asset. If you'd go
Hmm.
to Tesla and look on their sheets and look on what they do and so on, yeah, you probably won't see there a lot of assets over there. You'll see like a growth and steady things, and you'll see that the company is growing. But if you look on their shares, the there is no specific reason for that, except the hype around it.
The hype, yeah.
And the hype is the backdoor. The hype is current fuel of everything, and that's specifically related to the cryptocurrencies and to the blockchain market. If there is a hype, there is a growth of the market, and there is a growth of the um, projects that are usually do not have. There is an even more high growth of the projects that you usually do not have any value behind that. And
Hmm.
by understanding where is the hype and how to identify that, and by justifying this hype, whether the company whether the company or whether the asset has enough value behind this hype, or has enough strength behind this hype in case if the black swan happen, what are they
Hmm.
gonna do? Whether I would lose everything till complete zero, whether I will be wrecked from the market, or I at least will have the asset that will grow in the next cycle, in the next hype cycle. And that's my framework, how I assessed the assets to invest or to work with long term, to consider the specific asset, whether it has the baseline. If the most horrible thing happen, where will build this baseline? Will I be near zero, or there is a concrete baseline that I will stand on, and this baseline has a value, and then I'm assessing the hype around that. What is it, on which scale it is right now? On which scale is it right now? Is it gonna on the scale of overheated ass burning hype that everyone is talking about? All the taxi drivers are talking
Mhm.
about, and all the people were talking about, and all the press, even the most yellow, the magazine that wrote about that wrote usually about the things that happen on your local community, starts writing about the Bitcoin and about the investment in Tesla shares.
Yeah,
That's the determination of overheated hype. You should kind of just jump from this board because it's already burning from all the places. But
it's
if
funny.
every and that's the cycles. That's cycles of the economy, because the hype it's already about the greed and about the looking for ways to apply your capital in the place that tend to make you more money, and people are buzzing around that, and people are chatting around that. Hey, I put my money into Bitcoin, you should do as well. And that's the conversations that happen in the kitchens between like two friends. These conversations just spread out, and this hype is kind of growing around. Of course, companies are pouring money in that, pouring marketing money, paying different
Yeah,
influencers to make more conversations around that. Uh, in all time, it kind of always merges with the real conversations of people that put money in that, and just amplifies more and more and more with the money from marketing and real people like putting money
mhm,
on that and speaking about that, and so on and so forth. So assess where the hype is, understand the baseline, what in case of worst case scenario, what would you get in that case? And if you're at the very beginning of the hype curve, and in the worst case scenario, you at least will have your pants, it's worth to go there.
but it's funny we're talking about the hypes and buying into the hypes, but in reality, traditional banking has actually sold many people on many different hypes throughout the ages, right? I'm thinking, in the last couple of years, we had the whole subprime thing in 2008 and the big financial crisis that then was caused by that. But then if you go to a bank, or if you went to a bank back then, they would still sell you this super complex financial product which had no idea what it was about, and the only thing they would say, yes, in 5 years time you might lose all your money or you might make a little bit of money. Okay, that sounds okay, and you're a big
Yeah,
financial institution, so I should trust you because I can always go and talk with you. But it was still the same risk. It's still the same mentality, which is, yeah, we're creating this very complex thing. It might work, might not work, but if you trust us as an institution, you'll be safe. And
yeah,
that's kind of what happened with banks, isn't it?
yeah, and that's why I really hate speaking with regulators and speaking with people that from banking that are blaming cryptocurrency and blockchain on any case.
Hmm.
Cryptocurrency and blockchain and Web3 overall, that's a dangerous industry because a lot of people lost their money in that on the fraud companies, on the fraud coins and activities. And
Hmm.
I'm sitting and listening on that. Hey mate, do you know how much money people lost on the banks,
Hmm.
or on the banking fraud, or on the financial fraud activities? It's a way more than
It
people
is, yeah.
lost on the cryptocurrency market, and you literally do not know what you're talking about. And that's the reason people are biased and just trying to build the borders of adoption of new technology, blaming things that they think are happening. If to look on the numbers, it's kind of completely controversial. Look on the crisis in 2008. Why it's
Hmm.
happened? Not because of cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency being there, because of banking fraud, because
Yeah.
of fraud in traditional finance. And look on the micro crises that happened like literally last few years ago, and all these short squeezes, all these manipulations with the um, percentage rate, national bank percentage rate, and so on. Why we cannot say that these are scams and fraud activities as well, when people literally losing their homes because they can't afford the mortgage to pay anymore because someone decided, hey, why don't I kind of just
Play
put
around with this.
the
Yeah.
national rate credit rate in 2 times higher, just because I think that the economy is kind of not good and I wanna do something for the banks, but people can't afford mortgage because of that, and people can't afford to buy their homes anymore because of the tremendous inflation and so on. And that's a huge, that's enormous. These are enormous scams that happen in our life. But hey, guys, we need to blame cryptocurrency because it's kind of because it's novice and cool to blame cryptocurrency and Web3 in there. But what's interesting because about the Web3 and about the cryptocurrency and blockchain specifically, no one can take your money and do anything with them if you own your assets on your like a blockchain connected wallet or
Mhm.
something like that, and that's really cool. That's why I like this thing.
Ross, I'm curious on one thing because you've done so much. Have you managed to identify what's going to make a company successful or not? Because you've been in multiple companies, they've all been extremely successful. Have you found that magical formula yet? Do you know what it is?
This magical formula literally wrote on my banner in Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and I I literally I do like to think about that and get back to the world that I came from uh, and where I and how I just built my way through what I have right now and what I know right now, what skills I have, and so on and so forth. So, in order to be successful, you should work, but not just work specifically, do everything and so on. You should be conscious about how you do things, and you
Mm-hmm.
should be really tricky about work. You should do specific things that you need to do, and I do understand that's really obvious and bold statement, but you need you need to think more about what to do right now, which will give you more leverage tomorrow and which will kind of bring to what you want rather than just do the all work that you have on your plate. And
Hmm.
that's probably the point, to think more about how to creatively to do not do things that you have on your plate, and to be a bit more lazy in doing stuff, uh, to look for the ways how to avoid to do things and how to engage the additional power, additional forces to help to do this stuff much easier for you. And that's the entrepreneurial mind of thinking that everyone should employ if they want to get from zero to something. Because at the very beginning of my career, I was into, mate, you must work hard. You must work hard on anything, and
Mm-hmm.
that will bring you kind of the success. And after some time of working hard, I understood that, hey, maybe it will kind of I will die if I will work if I will kind of just continue to work hard as I saw the hard work uh, that leads to success. And what I understood that you should avoid work as much as possible. And that doesn't mean to be lazy completely and lie on your couch with your head down. It means to pick up things that give you an ability to uh, create the bigger things with what you do. And the
So,
statement that I employ says think, build, scale, and repeat. And it's always talked about from thinking. You think about few core activities that you must do right now and focus on. And there will be always a lot of things around these activities. You always must do dishes, and you will always must do kind of write the beautiful post on your social media about things and so on. But you must focus on the core things. You must think about the core things to focus on, and then build build it. It doesn't necessary to write a code. It means even like to write a few words on your paper in front of you, and to start like writing, or to start
Hmm.
kind of writing to people, to find the right person to help you to build stuff. And I'm not talking about only digital products. I'm saying about the real world things, to build a table or chair, or to build a house, or create a masterpiece, and
Hmm.
so on. And then just to step back a bit and to look on that, if that worth to scale what you've built, to scale that and repeat. If not, just abandon that and try from the very beginning. But there is one good moment that you should be conscious about. In anything that you do, there is a bit of luck, and
Hmm.
that's the really cool stuff that you can't predict. I'm really rational person. I tend to do kind of plans and to make a roadmaps and put targets and objectives and so on and so forth. And in our life, you must do all of that. But what makes life really interesting? The tiny probability of luck that is in everything that we do. And what you can do about that? Pretty much nothing. You The only thing that you can do is to think and um, to try to increase your probability of being lucky. But you cannot uh, you cannot to be lucky by default. You cannot engineer your luckiness to the
Hmm.
100% of probability of being lucky. You can increase that, and there are a lot of activities and of how to be luckier, and how to be more successful in what you're doing, and meeting new people and speaking with more as many people as possible is one of the activities. One of the ways how to be luckier, let's say. But um, you always should be conscious about these things, that if you're building something in your corner and no one sees that, and you're not sharing with anyone
That's
about
a
that,
mistake.
you
Yeah,
that's a huge mistake. You won't be successful, and you won't achieve anything. Of course, there is a tiny probability that you could achieve something, and this
but
is
it's
luck.
yeah, but it's so tiny though. I think
And this is luck. This is kind of the probability of being lucky in this world as well, because there are a ton of people that sitting in their tiny corner and doing something and hoping that they'll be the one of being chosen to uh, get viral on this world. Yeah, someone could be, but it will be one of billions probably,
yeah,
rather than being one of thousands that continuously trying to increase their luckiness, meeting new people.
meeting people. So it's the same thing. I mean, all these kids doing videos. It takes a while to get lucky. I mean, if you look at, for example, what's it called, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast even says, "Look, I was doing so many videos and no one was having a look at them. No one was
Yeah,
watching them." Until I kept on, improving them day in, day out. I joined a group, a masterclass, and all we did is focus on YouTube, how to grow YouTube, and we tried multiple things. And even now, he says every time he launches a video, it's like actually we have 100 different hypotheses of how the video might work, and we put them all there. We try them out, and then when we find the success one, that's the one we're gonna launch. So it's luck, but a lot of hard work at the same time. But also work smarter, not harder, isn't it?
yeah. Work smart, not harder, and think, build, scale, and repeat, continuously repeating and working more and more on what you believe in with amplifying your luck. that's the point, how to get more lucky.
Ross, I always like asking people about their favorite book. Now, what was the book that most inspired you, or you still go back every once in a while just for some grounding and kind of gives you that energy to continue?
That's really complicated question, because I tend to be
Can be
a book
multiple books.
eater, let's say, and my life is separated on reading science fiction and fictionary books,
Hmm.
and I would say about and I would like talk more about the authors rather than books. And the second part of my life, my alter ego, is reading the business books or business
Yeah.
related books. And I can say that I enjoy something more. It depends on the what I do together with that, and it
Hmm.
depends on the mood and so on. But at the very beginning of my life, of course, I've started from the not from the business books. I've started from the just regular books about everything, about different adventures, and I've came to fiction and science fiction. Most my favorite authors are Isaac Asimov and Roger Zelazny, and of course Tolkien with his tremendous Lord of the Rings and
Hmm.
whole Middle Earth saga and so on and so forth. And that's the classic that I think everyone should read. Uh, Specifically, for example, Isaac Asimov, because I have a huge number of flashbacks
Hmm.
from what he wrote about what's happening right now. Specifically, watching about the videos about the new atlas of Boston Dynamic Robot, or
Hmm.
Figure One, another company that made this robot powered with OpenAI technology. And I literally have these flashbacks to what he wrote about robots, about AI with his multi-wack supercomputer. And of course, he described everything on his kind of technology level, but the general principles are the same, all about AI and all about robots. Everyone that work in AI and robotic infrastructures industries, they
Hmm.
must read all books of Isaac Asimov.
Okay,
That's a must
interesting.
reading, to see the trends, to see what's gonna happen in the future. And of course, in order to amplify your imagination, you must read a lot of fiction and
Hmm.
a lot of kind of things that happen in the fictional worlds, and they will help you to justify, and they will help you to kind of be more strong against of things that happen in the real world, because right now we live in a time that uh, continuously where continuously happen something that completely out of this world, that completely unpredictable. Go back and watch the latest debates of Biden and Trump. Why,
Try not to fall asleep.
that's that you won't you won't fall asleep, because that's complete science fictional. That's something that looks like a fictional thing happening not in our world, and that's something that is completely um, of this world. Science fiction and fiction thing with this worlds created around different things. They help you to broaden your imagination and help you to kind of accept craziness that's happened around you. And I really enjoy to reread books that I read when I was a boy with my son. My son is 9 years old, and
Hmm.
I read with him through different books like Hobbit of Tolkien, or like Plain World of forgot the author, but reading a lot of things, or reading the books of Roald Dahl, the Charlie Chocolate Factory, and all these
Yes.
things. These are all fictional worlds with really interesting characters and different stuff. And if you start, if you have kids, or if kind of someone from the audience has kids, you must read with them and go through these books. They will really help you, even though this is a kind of kids book or meant to like for child reading. But these books won't teach you about uh, about life, but they will kind of amplify your imagination and will give you more confidence about yourself and about like living a life through life and so on. Another side is business books.
Hmm.
A hell of stuff here. I've read maybe all the books, all the regular books that everyone must read about like being successful, being like speaking
Yeah.
with people and so on. And I said, I'm more rational person because you probably know these people that just easily catch the vibe with any person. Um, but some people need to be trained and need to kind of get more into the um, speeches or get more into the like different other stuff. So I had to do that. I had to kind of work through my homework and to read all these books and uh, focus on the specific skills rather than the book to train more my confidence of speaking in public because I wanted to share my knowledge and I've trained through the books and not the books only, of course, by kind of the practice and so on. And
Yeah.
I read about a lot about that. I wanted to share. I wanted to understand the world better, and I've read a lot of books about the mm, different trends that are gonna be in the world and how to justify uh, these trends, how to predict things. And one book that is that I kind of use the knowledge from that I use on daily basis is about black swans.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, can't remember the author, but these are the books that I really remember and really use in my uh, day-to-day activity to justify things around me, what's happening around me, and so on and so forth. And then building building companies. Um, Read a lot of books about how to bring the company from zero to success and
Hmm.
how to scale the company from little startup to the enterprise level, which I successfully did, being
Hmm.
the uh, leader of Wirex and growing this company from zero to 500 people under my management. And
Yeah.
that's a tremendous, really the experience that unique for the market and only few people have that to transform the company and transform its processes from zero to the fully enterprise functional company and to walk through this growth or to take the small company as kind of to the DCM and create the working mechanism and to create the convey of the success for the B2B, heavy B2B infrastructural market. And that's the piece of work and the piece of experience that I have. And in order to be, I wasn't prepared for that. And I always had to deal with the ton of shit that kind of just was put on my head. And so in order to do that stuff, you must read books. You must learn the experience of people that were more that are more like a clever that you wise that you that and that seen all these issues or at least analyzed different companies and
Hmm.
provided you with an outcome or provided you with the specific um, recipes how what to do. But books or any other learning materials never give the right answer. You just need to
some ideas. They give you some
You,
ideas, and then you need to go and
you
apply
just need
them.
to work out, on the ideas, and you just need to think by yourself and take these ideas, apply the environment and apply the context that you're working with, and go ahead and try with some hypotheses and so on. One of a few books that I read about the companies and read about the building products, about the companies specifically, from good to great, and
Hmm.
that's kind of one of the books that really impressed me on the mindset that you must have on building the companies. Then I've
Great.
turned to
Hmm.
the turn to the pumping my skill and building the product, building the right products. Because if I build the right company, if I build the right team, have to make them to build the right product. And one of the books that I read called Hooked, and that's the really cool book about how to build sticky products that people will use, and how to build the really valuable products that people
Hmm.
will use. And after that, I kind of went back to the basics, because through the last 2 years in my life happened a lot of earthquakes that completely shifted my perception of life, with all this kind of big war that Russia started
Yeah.
against Ukraine. And one of the book that I'm reading right now, called Sapiens,
Hmm.
it describes the whole history of the humankind from the very beginning, when we were monkey like people, and how our animal alter ego plays tricks inside our brains and plays tricks in our society, um, as we are Homo sapiens right now,
Hmm.
and how we work together, how we construct all these artificial entities around ourselves to make our societies go forward and so on. And that's what really helps me to understand some kind of global activities that happen in our
Yeah.
world, world, and justify the things that people do, and things that how people make decisions, and so on. So getting back to the helicopter view on everything that
Hmm.
I've did and I've learned, that's a really good exercise to uplift you to the next level of knowledge that you can accept before going forward.
Ross, one final question, which is, if people want to reach out to you and get in touch, how can they do so?
That's really great, and I really looking forward to have people reaching out to me with opportunities, with questions, with issues that they see on their road, and I'd like to help to make the path of some person that tries tries to create something around himself or herself, and tries to amplify skills, experience, or business, professional identity, whatever. I really would like to help someone to make make his or her life easier, and ready to share my experience. And in order to contact me, and of course, welcome for investors. I have a plenty of interesting products to speak about, and these products are completely out of this world in terms of potential that they can bring to the market. And the best places to speak with me, of course, it's a LinkedIn. I always welcome for direct messages and connections. If you want to read more Djeni content, welcome to my Twitter, and where I'm kind of sharing my thoughts around blockchain, sharing my thoughts specifically around Web3. LinkedIn more about traditional, more about high level things that I read, and that I experience and share over there. And of course, happy to work with you, Ricardo, and jump on the things that you've got, jumping on the opportunities that you've got, and happy to speak with everyone.
Sounds good. Ross, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting, Ricardo. I think, and I'm pretty much sure that we have really, really good stuff and a lot of stuff ahead.
Thank you so much.